Hello, it's Sharon Taylor, founder and CEO of the Business Vision and Development Center. And today on Books for Business, we're going to continue our discussion with Villareal Johnson on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And today, Valeria is going to discuss habits 2 and 3. Give us the titles of those habits, Valeria, because I've gotten tongue-tied already.
Yeah, it's the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? That is a lot. It is a lot to say. So habit 1 we covered was proactiveness or being
Mm-hmm.
proactive, but habits 2 and 3 are begin with the end in mind and put first things first. Okay. What are your thoughts? All right, we did proactive. So
Yes.
what are your thoughts about the next 2? Because we know these are what they call private victories when you get success here. So what is your thought about habit 2? Begin with the end in mind, and habit 3, put first things first, which I like them both.
I like begin with the end in mind because I use that a lot in my business. When I meet with business owners, that's typically what I start with. Where do you see your business in, 5 years, 10 years? And then we work backwards to get to define the milestones, steps, and timelines so that they flow into where they want to be. One thing that you used to do with me was say those kind of things, because your mind works in very strategic ways. But you used to always say, at the end of the month, how much money do you want to have? At the end of the year, how much money do you want to have? Then you divide that by this and that and the other. And then you do this cross reference into how many clients and how much time. And I used to just say, I can't. But that is a for people to get to where they want to be because they got to know where they're going.
Destination. When you
Oh,
think begin with the end in mind, you think destination. You say, hey, I know everybody watching this can relate to this. I want to go on vacation. I need a vacation. Okay. Vacation simulate the word or the idea or the thought about vacation generates the idea that you need a break from something, right?
yes.
Now, once you started, I need a vacation. I'm sick of this. I'm tired of this job. I'm tired of trying to be. I need to get away. I need a vacation. What you're saying is you need to get away. But where you going? Where is
Right.
your vacation? What is your destination? So then you start to think Cancun, Jamaica, Paris, you know, the vineyard or the winery in California. I don't know, right? So you got to say, all right, well, I'm a zero in, and we're gonna go to Paris.
Okay.
You're going to vacation in Paris. Now you have thought about where you're going to go and where you're going to end up. Everything else is working backwards. How I'm going to get there, how much it's going to cost, where I'm going to stay, what I'm going to do when I'm there, right?
Yep.
When you think begin with the end in mind, there's a principle here that all things are created twice. The idea that resonated and originated in your mind, and then the manifestation of that idea into the world, right? And it becomes a physical thing. I want a vacation is a good thing. It's what I want to do. I want a vacation. But you may never vacation if you don't take the steps, right, to move to vacation, which is first establishing your destination, right? So understanding the principle that all things are created twice is really what's key to being successful and beginning with the end in mind. Now, what he wants us all to do because this is not just based on vacation. It's just based on what your life is going to be like.
Oh
The
yeah.
average person
Mhm.
lives 85 years in America, right? So wherever you are in your life, you have that much more time, right? So if you're 45, you have 40 more years of life in general. If you're 25, you got 60 more years of life, et cetera, et cetera. And he
Woo.
says, take personal mission statements. Determine a simple statement that will guide every decision that you create in your mind and every decision that comes out of your mind to be manifested in the world.
Okay.
Most people don't have personal mission statements.
Under I think because of my personality, everything is written down, written out, goals, money, what I want my life to look like, what I want my business to look like. And even with that, starting with the end in mind, I want people to understand that at least you do have a destination if you start with the end in mind.
Mhm.
And that sometimes we can pivot or navigate based on where we are as we go through this journey.
Correct. So when we started with the overview and we went and we built up to where we are now, the shift in thinking is so critical because he talked about going from dependent to uh, independent to interdependent. Now, to get to this place where you know what your personal mission statement is, and you
Mhm.
know the principle of all things are created twice, and you know that the manifestation of the idea in the world requires a certain set of activities, he says then your personal statement must be rooted in four things: security, guidance, wisdom, and power, right? So most people won't even get there because they haven't started to think differently about their thoughts.
Mhm.
Then he says, well, to get there, you have to understand what is your motivation for what you do day in and day out. What is your universe, right? Are you the sun or are you centered around something else? I heard you say a few things. You're centered around money, right? Some people are centered around their spouse, their family, their job, the things that they possess, people that don't like them, people that do like them, church, God, and some people just egotistical, self-centered, right? So you got to understand what motivates you. What when you wake up in the morning, what is your first thought? Are you going to serve? Are you going to be selfish? Right? Are you going to be I want to be happy? Do I want to be pleasured? Do I want to self-care? Do I want to pamper? Like what more times than not is your driving motivation when you wake up?
Oh, well, well, when you said money is mine, that's not quite right. You were just helping me to define, uh, helping me define my goals in terms of what I need to be where to get what I want, right? So money is the driving force to get me to that destination in Paris. So it's just a factor, but my driving force is really happiness. And I guess at the
Mm.
end of that, money, my destination, all of that is my ultimate goal.
Right. So happiness is fleeting. So
Yes.
if you look at happiness, then that's pleasure centeredness.
Okay.
Right? Happiness, you see the world in terms of what is in it for you. You
Yes.
want to be happy, so happiness comes with satisfaction, and satisfaction changes depending on your desire.
Okay.
And it's a principle, right? It's a principle of centeredness, right? And it's just pleasure. It's not. He's not saying one is better than the other.
Right.
What he's saying is whatever one is your center is how you're going to move in the world. And he's saying that you can change these centers based on what your destination is. So if you
Right.
change your destination, then you can change your center. And if you change your center, then you change your habits. And if you change your habits, you change. You see where we're going? He wants
Yeah,
us to
yeah.
know that whatever we are centered on, whatever our focus is what's going to govern everything else about us.
You got that right. So if I was starving, my center would be starvation, and getting food, finding food, cooking food would I would be moving in that direction.
Yeah, you're hungry, right? So you want to
Yeah, my
satisfy your hunger,
hunger would be
right?
my center, and then
Right.
everything else would drive that. So
Yeah.
what is the third habit?
Oh, okay.
You
Well,
said I'm moving right along.
okay, I thought it was something else we could have covered, but I see that. Well, I guess what we want to know is what is your principle, right? Not you, but people watching. What is your principle center, right? And that's what people need to figure out. What does it mean to be principled? What are principles, right? Now,
Okay.
when we look at putting first things first, right, you have to really just think about one, what is the one thing that you could do that you're not doing that could be a regular thing to do that will make a positive difference in your life. And then two, what as it relates to business, what is the one thing you could do in your for your business, in your business, or your personal life that would change outcomes and bring you similar results. So now he's looking at you, the person, and you, the business, right? So your business is impacted by you, your person. Your person is impacted by your thinking. Your thinking is impacted by your principles, right? You see
Hmm.
how all this stuff is starting to be interrelated.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle pieces that fit together.
Hmm. Yep.
Now,
So,
and
mhm.
what before you go on out, because I always go back to things that you've taught me along my way. And when I used to say, uh, I used to like to get up and make little flyers and take pictures. And you said to me, I said, I can't never figure out what to do first. And you said to me, do whatever is going to, and this was a business conversation. Do
Mhm.
whatever's going to make you money first, and then you can enjoy all those that fluff later. And I finally it finally clicked, because I always like to do the fluff because it made me feel good.
Pleasure centered.
Yep. Yep. So go ahead and speak more about that.
All right. So when we understand one and habits one and two. So when you look at habit three, you must first know, right, and own the fact that you are a creator, a co-creator, if you believe in God, and you are in charge, right? Now, you also need to think about what you can imagine and your ability to imagine, to envision what you become, right? So in
Hmm.
habit three, you focus on the second creation, which is the manifestation of your idea in the real world, right? It becomes the exercise of independent will toward becoming right principle center. So you talk about independent will. You talk about something that you are very strong will. You are going to think through how to achieve that which you want to achieve. And we know, just not saying this is absolutely true of you, but pleasure is a thing that you like, right? And
Yeah, I
you're
like to
going to feel
feel good. I
right.
like
You're going to like to
to
feel
feel
good, right? And that's okay. So let's just say you have to say, well, what will make me feel good today? What can I do to make me feel good? And all of this other thing that I have to do, right? You got to manage time. So when you were talking a few moments ago, you was talking about how I have this way of seeing the world, this matrix that I teach people to look at how they go about doing things. So it's really based on Covey's time management matrix, right? He
Okay.
says you have four quadrants, right? And if you can imagine, maybe we could post this on the site. You have box one, urgent, important. Box two, important, not urgent. Box three, not important, right? Urgent. And then you have box four, not important, not urgent. So when people wake up, they can do it the day before, they can do it weeks in advance. But whatever you wake up, you want to have this matrix to manage your time. Like you got deadlines on the job, you got deadlines that are bills, you got deadlines. You got to get to the bank by 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? You have all these imposed uh, 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 what is the word? Boundaries on you, right?
Right,
When you
right,
must
right.
do these things in these time frames. Now you say, well, automation takes bill paying away from you, right? If you got a
Okay.
budget, right, and you know how much money you're going to make every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever, and you set your priorities for your payments of your bills, you no longer have to rush to get to the bank by 5 o'clock because you don't get off work until 5:30. So now you got to use PTO
Right.
to get off to the job early. And there's so many things in between. So I'm using that so people, because I think everybody understands
Yeah.
the stress of
You
going
know,
to the
I
bank
like a good
after work.
analogy.
The stress of going to the bank after work. And for some people, you can only take 1,000 out at your ATM anyway. So you may need to get 2,500, right? So you got to get to the bank, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. So he goes into also he talks about the wave of time management, and I won't go into that because it's kind of nerdy and boring. But it's four evolutions of managing your time. And this ultimate way of managing your time is really something that he does in his scheduling system. And I
Mhm.
don't know how many people use his scheduling system, but instead of looking at time in terms of 24/7, you have 24 hours in a day and you have 7 days a week, and you sleep 8 of those days. So now you got 16 hours left in your day, of which your job is going to take 8 to 10 of those hours,
I'm
right?
just showing you my Franklin Covey, which was his partner, Franklin, my daily, weekly, lifetime journal. But go ahead.
Yeah, good. So I tell people, right, when you want to make money, you have to manage your time correctly
Money
and be
is
efficient.
time.
Time is the money. No, time is the money
Time
because
is money.
time is
Yes.
the money because if time wasn't the money, then people wouldn't pay you money for your time.
Woo woo.
You have 168 hours in a week.
Oh Lord. Here come the math.
You have 168 hours in the week, and you can determine what you're going to do with those hours way ahead of time, right? And that's what he wants us to think really deliberately about. And once you get control and mastery of your time, you, you are moving in principle centeredness, right?
Okay, VJ, thank you for that. And our time is running out. So, again, join us for Books for Business every other Thursday. You can listen to the book on our website, www.thebvdcenter.org. So you can keep up, you can develop your 7 habits to become a highly effective person. And VJ, we'll see you again real soon. And thanks.